You are the creator of your life story. This is a choose your own adventure story. You are a sovereign being with free will, and that means that you are free to choose again every single day. You do not have to choose the choices you chose yesterday. And if you like the choice that you made before, then you need to use your power of free will to choose it again. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Karma Cards. So today, September 1st, 2021, wow, there is a lot of activity happening in our energetic fields. Today the Schumann almost hit 50 hertz, which is fairly high considering the standard is 7.85, that's the base. So we're in a peak right now of activity, and I'm interested to watch and see, will we get more activity coming up here in the next few days. Also today, I was looking at the geomagnetic field and we're at a 6. And usually when we have these storms, I see 5 a lot. 5 is pretty high for us. So to get up to 6 means we're in a stronger geomagnetic storm right now. So you're probably feeling that energy. And again, it can sometimes feel like an increase in energy. Other times it can feel a little ungrounding, maybe even causing subtle symptoms like nausea, exhaustion, headaches, things like that. So it's a great day to make sure you are drinking lots of water, making sure you're also replenishing those electrolytes by doing something like putting pink sea salt in your water, or something with non-sugary electrolyte enhancement, because we are spinning through water so much right now. Every time we get these elevations in energy, it increases our own electromagnetic field, which means we're putting out more energy. And every time we're raising our vibration, we do that too. We raise our own electromagnetic field, so there's a stronger output in energy, and that's why water is so important when doing this work. So here's your daily message to make sure you're getting enough water. I got some water right here. Okay, so today's message is a reminder that your life is basically like a choose your own adventure story. For those of you who remember those from the 80s, choose your own adventure stories were awesome and a lot of fun to read because you never quite knew what was going to happen to you as you went through the book. Your life is a choose your own adventure story, and the powerful word here is choose or choice. We are in that time period called the choice. And this can be, I think, a little bit confusing when we think about it as one choice, a singular choice. There is sort of a greater choice, right? And this is about polarizing, or which end of the energy spectrum of service to others, positive polarity, service to self, negative polarity, are you going? That's kind of like the umbrella of the choice. But the needle doesn't move just once, right? It doesn't just be like, service to others, boom, needle moved, ascension achieved. Instead, it is choose your own adventure story, which means multiple choices, and free will is a big player here. You have free will even from your own choices, right? We want this. We want this because think about choices you may have made in your own past, maybe choices that make you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, right? We are not bound to that version of ourselves that made that choice. Every day we have the choice to choose again. And if you've gone through a rough patch in your life, or you have worked on yourself on a personal development level, you know that it was the freedom to choose again that gave you the power to leave that old scenario and choose a newer scenario, a better scenario for yourself. So this free will and the power to choose again, these are two incredibly positive choices. The caveat is resting on your laurels, sort of thinking you've made a choice already and that's it. You've got to decide every day the choice again. So like you wake up with a sort of a clean slate is a good way to think about it. It's like every night you go to sleep, you're reset, and you wake up again. And there's a couple of things that can happen. One, you can choose by default, which means you just continue a pattern without really consciously engaging in that. And so therefore that was the choice, to not choose. You can wake up again and to say, you know what, everything I chose yesterday, I'm over it. I'm choosing something absolutely new today. That's a choice. Another choice is to acknowledge that I like the choices I made yesterday and I'm going to choose those again. That felt good, so I'm going to do it again. Right? You see this, that to choose is an act of consistency. And it's consistently choosing that moves the needle, moves you in a specific direction. So it's important for us to realize that we may have made big choices in our life, thinking about the future, the timeline you want to be on, what's going to happen on that timeline, what you want to see and align to. It's great if you have consciously spent time thinking about that and have chosen it once. That sets a precedent, makes it easier to choose it again next time. The caveat is you still have to choose it again. So when you make a choice, for example, about what the future looks like, what the timeline you're going to be on looks like, it is important that every day you consider your choices and either choose again, choose better, or choose something else. But you still have to make a choice. Don't rest on the laurels thinking, well, I've already chosen that. It's free will. That means you're gonna have to choose again. I know it sounds like I'm like kind of honing it in. I'm doing that mostly, I think, predominantly for my own sake, because it's so easy to say to ourselves, well, I've already chosen it, but it's not happening. Do you see what happens there when you decide, well, I've already chosen it, so this should happen, but then you don't see things progress or move forward in your desired direction, and then you start to lose faith in the choices you've made. It's really easy to do that. And so it is important for us to really understand that it is our consistency of choice that moves the needle, that creates the traction, that starts to get us firmly on the timeline that we're choosing, and not get distracted by outside events that we see playing out, thinking that that somehow locked us into something. It has not. It just means we need to choose again, right? Keep choosing. So that is why I am getting harped on by my team about this, and I'm sharing that with you to help you realize that the power is in your choices every day, and either recommitting to those choices or adapting and adjusting if you need to. So now I want to ask you, why do you think it is that it's so easy to picture what you don't want or to get sucked into that whole trajectory than what you desire? Why do you think that is? Here's what I think it is. It has to do with the 3D control matrix programming, right? This thing has been created to create a default for unwanted desire, a lower frequency. That's it. Like, that's all we have to look at is what is the frequency of it? Well, it's pretty low. So it's going to cause us to choose to lower our frequency, and we lower our frequency through what we're focusing on. And obviously, when you're focusing on what you don't want, what happens to you? Go down in energy. And the other part of this programming is a natural tendency to neutralize your positive choices, neutralizing your own power. This was all part of this control structure, right? The whole idea of a control structure is to create an illusion that you have no choice, right? And what's really happening here is you are being sort of tricked into giving away your consent. That's what it's about. So you've always had a choice, but when it appears you have no choice, you'll choose whatever that system wants you to choose. So it also wants to neutralize your own power potential, your own ability to create. And this has been taught to us not just in our lifetime. This is through our parents or grandparents, generationally, all the way back. And this structure, when I ask my team, like, how old is this thing? It's like 6,000 years old. Okay, so it was around for a while. We are here to witness and be a part of its fall. It's already falling apart. Loving that. I'm on that timeline where it's just imploding on itself. But part of that control matrix structure was a program belief to neutralize your own sovereign power of creation. And we do this without even hearing ourselves sometimes. We make a choice. We are like, I want the highest timeline for the good of all humanity, and it's happening now. We are on the ascension paradise timeline. It's happening. And you're like all jazzed up and ready and excited. And then when you start seeing stuff that matches that, if this default control matrix program is still running somewhere in the back of the mind, what will happen is you'll see something that matches it and you'll start to neutralize by going, that's a coincidence. Neutralized. That's too good to be true. Neutralized, right? So every time we start to use this power, this sort of triggered energy, this optic kicks on, going, no, that's not real. That's just a coincidence. It's too good to be true. Don't get comfortable with that, because it's all going to fall apart. Those are neutralizing thoughts. And these are part of that structure. And the reason that needs to happen is to, again, lower your frequency, bring you over into a sense of powerlessness and helplessness, and create what someone else desires to be created. Some other group, right? Some other intention. The negative timeline is asking you create for us by giving us your attention and giving us your fear and giving us your power by giving it away, saying, well, I guess I don't have a choice, right? That's all part of that false matrix. And here's the thing. Whatever we choose to focus on, even if we're saying, I don't want it, if our mind continually thinks about it, processes it, worries about it, watches it play out in the mind, right? We're actually helping create it. We're helping to build it. And a movie that shows this to a degree is the Pixar movie Soul. So if you've not seen this movie, I guess it's sort of a spoiler, but in the movie, there are these characters, and I cannot remember for the life of me what they're calling, lost souls. I think that's what they call them. But basically what it is a soul who is so overburdened by their fear, doubt, and worry, or obsession in some cases, that they become burdened by this and turn into appear to look almost like a monster. Right? They are creating the negative around them, and therefore that is their experience, because they're harping on it or they're refocusing on it, and it's creating their experience. So understand that, we've been taught that somehow, we got the impression, and I don't even know it's been taught, I think it's just a psychic impression that, again, has gone through generationally. And this psychic impression is, if I spend time with my eyeballs on it, I'll somehow be able to stop it by focusing on it. I really think that is a generational psychic imprint that happened. And this was false. It's false. So when someone's watching a game, and let's say their favorite team is playing and the other team is playing, notice that they'll give it all of their attention. They'll glue their eyes to it. And their subconscious belief is that if I focus on them, if I give them my attention to win, they will win. But what is happening to them the entire time they're lasering in on their team? They are in stress, doubt, fear, and worry. They don't believe their team's going to win because they have to give it all the attention. And that can sometimes create the outcome, especially if that person is holding an energy of they might lose, these guys might kick their butt. Well, you're actually helping on some level to be a part of the creation of that. And I do say a part. You can't fully create something that includes other beings, but you sure can add to that outcome. So we want to remember that one of our most powerful tools is choice. We want to get more conscious about what we're choosing and use that laser ability of focus and focus it in the direction of what we want. That means we have to take our eyes off what we're afraid of, what we're worried about, what we're in doubt of. Because by focusing in on that and watching it, you're not actually preventing the outcome you don't want, you're actually helping to create it. So this week, at some point, I hope you'll take time to really focus in on what you do want. What do you want to see? What would the ideal outcome in your life be? And then spend time really focusing in on that. Get into the details. Watch it like you're watching a movie. For those of you who are really good at visualization, this is a piece of cake. For those of you who feel like visualization isn't a strong suit, I would recommend starting by going to a memory that has a lot of joy, happiness, security, and love in it. Find that memory, because memories are just like imagination. If you can see your memory in your mind's eye, you can visualize what you want. So start with a memory that's really good and build off of that. And the more focus and attention you give to what you desire, the more you are choosing it and the more you are aligning to it. And as you align it to it, it has to become. Let's do karma cards for the week. So for those of you who are new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how this works. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, one in red, which are action, and one in blue, which are outcome. And the way that you play is you tune in intuitively and see, what do you need this week? Do you need red, action-related answers, or blue, outcome-related answers? And of course, you can always choose both. While you are choosing, let me give you the timing for this reading. This reading is for September 1st through September 8th, 2021. And the flavor of this reading is the sun. Love the sun. Usually very positive, action-oriented card. In the sign of Libra. And it's interesting because we're about to, we're moving through Virgo right now. And as we move through Virgo, of course, we get closer to Libra. But this is that Libra represents relationships, partnerships, and it's the first time that the energy has gone from the internal world and is starting to express into the external world. And our house is the 12th house. This is what is hidden, what is in the subconscious mind, and this is having to deal with the revelation of secrets or big sort of unconscious energy. For those of you who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to demonstrate relationships seeking oneness with all there is. Demonstrate relationships seeking oneness with all there is. I love that. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. See yourself in all beings, because we're all one. Practice, meditate on it, try to see yourself in them, see them in you, feel that connection. Till action at this time, realize the beauty of philanthropy. Realize the beauty of philanthropy. Manifest your giving nature, right? Manifest it. So to realize is to manifest. And that is, focus on what you can give. what can I give in any given situation? So philanthropy obviously has a lot of connotations about charitable giving, donations, that is included. But I also feel like another way to see philanthropy is, what can I give in this moment? And of course, make sure you're asking yourself, do I have capacity to give in this moment? Because that is an act of self-awareness, which in and of itself is giving. Because when we're not pushing ourselves to give when we're empty, we are being self-aware, and we are more likely going to take care of ourselves and get us in a state where giving is once again easy and effortless. Physical action. Act like a leader, do it with your partners, and keep your involvement hidden. Act like a leader, do it with your partners, and keep your involvement hidden. Every time I hear this kind of phrasing, I keep getting brought back to the image of the wolf pack and the alpha wolf. So a true leader isn't in front because they want the attention and the accolades and to be seen in that powerful position. A true leader recognizes that my pack, my group, my species, I am connected in one with it, and therefore we're only as strong as our weakest member. And if someone else's needs aren't fully met, that means mine are also not fully met. And a leader understands this, that if I'm going to survive, I need to make sure you survive. And they take on that sense of responsibility for every man, right? They're taking on the sense of responsibility for their tribe, their group, their species. They take that seriously. And that means in the case of this reading, look at your partners directly. Now, this might be friends that you're close with. This may be a literal partner, like a business partner. This might be a partner as in a relationship, a romantic relationship. It might be a partner as in another family member, right? So partner can have different meanings here. It's not just one type of partnership that's being alluded to. But we're looking at them and seeing ourselves. And again, this message just keeps replaying out in this part of the reading. See others as a part of you. Take care of their needs as if they are your needs. That is philanthropy. Now let's look at outcomes. For those who are choosing outcomes with the sun in Libra in the 12th house of the hidden or subconscious, the spiritual outcome at this time is the creation of cooperation to perfect your faith. I'll say that again. The creation of cooperation to perfect your faith. When we start to see ourselves in others and we take care of them accordingly. So I want to be careful with this reading, because those of you lovely, beautiful people who have a tendency towards martyrism, this is almost sounds like a green light. Like, go ahead and just put your needs completely aside and make sure every single other person's need is taken care of. Please understand that when we're talking about oneness, it must include you. So if you exclude yourself in giving, in taking care of needs, then you are actually not serving the whole, because the whole implies zero separation. So tough love to all my sweet, loving, giving, martyr type people. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that false listening. Be part of the oneness. Include yourself, right? And this perfects faith. I trust more when it's like we can feel when we are more whole or more separated. When we are concerned about taking care of the needs of all, we feel more whole. And that wholeness, it illuminates it, it brightens, it strengthens our faith. We can believe more because we can feel it. Mental outcome, the gaining of respect for or from decisions about hidden tendencies. Okay, this kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier in the cards about hidden tendencies can mean subconscious patterns, and deciding about that. So it's the choice, right? Do I wake up in the morning and just not choose anything and therefore choose by default? Do I choose that I have no choices, thereby giving my power away? Do I reaffirm the choices I've made before because I like those choices and I want to continue experiencing them? Or do I refine my choices and choose new? Decisions about hidden tendencies. Decision is the choice. Hidden tendencies is the identification of any pattern. Do I always choose new? That could be a possible hidden tendency, that I never am satisfied with what I've chosen, and so I'm constantly choosing again and therefore not experiencing any consistency. Could be a hidden pattern as an example. So the gaining of respect is self-respect with self-awareness, and choosing comes more self-respect. Physical outcome at this time: things brought to life or light, resulting from the fairness shown by large institutions or overwhelming events. So again, the 12th house having to do with something bigger than ourselves, right? Our subconscious mind, by the way, is bigger than ourself. If you've ever heard me talk about it before, your subconscious mind, only a part of it represents your individuality, but the deeper you go into it, the more you realize we're icebergs interconnected under the water. So the deeper down you go into subconscious mind, the more interconnected we are, hence overwhelming or large scale events, large scale consciousness. So again, things brought to life or light, so something coming forward resulting from the fairness shown by large institutions or overwhelming events. And I feel like this one speaks sort of to the outside world and things going on. All I want to say about this is take nothing at face value. Nothing is as what it appears. Everything has levels to it, and more is revealed as time goes on. Make your choices about what you're seeing, and make those choices based on a heart and soul level, and not from a fear or a feeling of I have no power level. So not from powerlessness, fear, or anxiety, but from a truly heart-centered, sovereign place, remembering you have the power to choose. And I do see people doing this, and I do think it will deepen. You can't stop what is coming. You can't stop it, because this is the great awakening. This is the shift. This is something massive and bigger than what we can see with our eyes. We all came to this planet. We bought a ticket. We begged to be chosen. We put our hands up. We said yes. We were chosen because we were skilled and qualified for the task at hand. But we decided to come to create this beautiful shift because it's time, and it's so positive. And so what we're watching in the world is the destruction of an old paradigm. We're watching the control matrix die and fall apart. And it is confusing and uncomfortable and even a little scary at times. And yet it is you waking up to your sovereignty, to the fact that you are a creator being. And we're kind of all waking up to it, and then we've got to learn. It's like we feel like we have to learn quickly sometimes. What does that mean? If I'm creating reality, what the hell am I doing? Like, what do I do? Okay, well, remember, we don't all wake up at the same time. We wake up in waves, and there have been waves of different levels of awakening for years. We have many guides. Some guides are giving us much information, like Dolores Cannon, for example. She's not even alive anymore. She passed away in 2015. But her work was primed for now. She got so much information about this moment that we're going through. And I know in my heart that she is still providing guidance to all of us who recognize her frequency. And believe me, you have loved ones on the other side, generations, who've got their hands on your shoulders and they're saying, you've got this. You can break down that control matrix structure. You can break it. And when we break it for ourselves, we break it for our ancestral generation line. So it feels like an overwhelming event. It feels scary at times, but ultimately I see incredibly positive things moving forward. And so with that, I hope you have a beautiful week. I hope that you wake up tomorrow and you think about your choices and you think about, what do you want to choose, right? If this plate is totally clear and you can put anything on it you want, what do you want to choose today? Until next time. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.